Hi everyone, Grada again from the Purple House Wellness Center, helping you to tune in to the miracle inside you or uncover the miracle being that you are. So how often do you get out of bed in the morning and you're feeling okay, but it doesn't take long and you start to feel bad and you don't feel that same happiness anymore. And so tonight I just want to go into a few little things that can tremendously boost your happiness and make you feel grateful. Hi Leah, hi Jody. Our happiness can disappear very, very quickly and it can reappear just as quickly. And tonight I want to show you a few tricks that are going to help you feel steady and solid in yourself. So I'm sitting here like this for starters, because when you sit with your arms like this, that calms your nervous system, reduces fear and anxiety, and lowers your stress levels. And the minute our stress levels drop down, our happiness rating goes up. That's a chemical reaction in your body. When we are stressed, we can't be happy, and unless it's happy anticipation, I guess, when it's a positive stress. But ongoing negative stresses cause our body or our nervous system to literally, it gets tighter and tighter and tighter till we're like this, and then we're in trouble. So just putting your arms like this, that's a kinesiology trick from Brain Gym. And that gets us out of our fight and flight and fear and starts to dissolve the freeze in our body that we get trapped in. If we can't fight or we can't flee, we freeze. And a lot of emotions become frozen in our body. And this is one way to dissolve. So the next thing you need to do when you sit like this is breathe into your body, take a breath in. And when you breathe out, your body goes into healing mode. So the out breath is the healing breath. And often when we're breathing in and out, we're breathing in too shallow. So we're not breathing out properly. So our body can't properly relax. So we'll just do that for a second. And you can practice this alongside me to give your body a chance to open up and relax. And the more you open and relax, the easier it is to get in touch with your own essence or presence or your own authentic self, which is where the miracle is, that's the pot of gold at the end of a rainbow. The pot of gold at the end of the rainbow signifies us. Because if you look at our energy body, if you're clairvoyant, we look like walking rainbows. And then we're always looking for the missing bit, and we're looking outside of ourselves. But actually the pot of gold, of course, is to be found inside of us. So I was just reading some research today that showed that people who haven't looked on Facebook for a whole week are actually 30% happier than people who look at Facebook or Instagram or social media like 10 times or 100 times a day. The reason being, when we scroll down social media, we start to compare ourselves to other people. We compare, and we feel worse and worse, and suddenly we feel really, really bad. So one way, because of course the solution is not really to stop looking at social media, because that's the way we connect these days and it's part of our lifestyle. We just simply have to stop feeling bad, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. But in the Spanish language, comparing, the word comparing actually means little murder. So little murder, every time we are comparing ourselves to others, we usually do that unfavorably, and we're murdering ourselves, like a little bit more chips down, like here goes another bit of self-esteem or another bit of self-worth. So how can we prevent that, or how can we remedy that? Well, research again shows that if you foster an attitude of gratitude, your happiness will immediately, within minutes, increase by 25%. So an attitude of gratitude simply means become aware and conscious of everything in your life that you can be grateful for. Okay, so and it needs to be something about you more than anything else. So what you're experiencing right now. So for instance, I am grateful I'm still breathing. I'm grateful for breathing in the beautiful air in Tasmania, which is, you know, some of the purest air in the world. I'm grateful that I am living in a peaceful country. It's safe for me to cross the road. I'm not going to get shot down when I cross the road. There are people in huge areas of the world where there is war happening or it's dangerous, and I bet you bottom dollar there are probably millions of people out there who would rather they would prefer to chop off an arm or a leg to be in my position. So I can be grateful for the life that I have now. Okay? So just grab a pen and a piece of paper and jot down the things that you feel grateful for, and just tune into your body when you do that. So learning the language of gratitude, unless we understand the language of, no, unless we speak the language of gratitude, we can never understand the language of happiness. That's an old saying. So unless we speak the language of gratitude or thankfulness, we can never understand the language of happiness. So if we want to be happy, we better practice gratitude. And that takes practice because from our infancy or childhood, when we come into the world, a baby tends to focus on happy things. The baby is tuned into happiness, love, joy, the light rather than darkness. But our parents and our surrounding, they teach us to focus on other things, like things that are broken, the dark side of life, you could say. They point out our faults, our mistakes, and we soon, before we even 2 or 3, we've learned to take our focus away from everything that's good. And we're focusing on the danger, we're focusing on mistrust, we're focusing on disease, on pain, on worry. And then for the rest of our lives, we tend to focus more and more on that, because that energy is slowly but surely building up till in the end we are a ball of pain or a ball of unhappiness rather than happiness. So one way to stop that from happening and to open up and create space for happiness in us, to create spaciousness, is learning attitude of gratitude. Also really important, develop an attitude of gratitude towards yourself in the first place, and then your closest, the people who you're closest to in your life. So for instance, with me, that would be Peter. And because Peter and I have been together for so long now, it could easily, a tendency could creep in to take our love for granted, or our trust, or just to take each other for granted. So to snap out of that, it's also really important that I thank Peter, that I literally feel grateful and be mindful for the little things that he does, like making me breakfast in bed. That would be a huge thing for lots of people, but I'm sort of used to it because Peter does that all the time. And just little things like that. Feel grateful for a flower in your garden, pick a flower and take a close look at it. And just see how intricate and beautiful it is. And then you feel an appreciation. And then you need to look at yourself and think, I'm just as perfect as that flower. I'm a perfect creature. And just as important as Mount Everest. That's what I always tell myself. So long time ago, when English or when our language was developed, the ancients, they knew that thinking and thanking, they were actually the same word. So people, they couldn't think without feeling thankful, literally. Or when they were thinking, they were also being thankful at the same time. But somewhere in the history of humanity, that started to go down the gurgler. So just to recap what I've been saying, apparently when you scroll down on Facebook or social media every day of your life, you start to feel bad very, very quickly. And so most people, social media is draining the happiness. When actually it can be a tool for happiness. So how can we bolster our happiness? By creating an attitude of gratitude. And apparently that boosts your happiness by 25 to 30% straight away. So that's a muscle we need to practice. And if you feel stressed, just sit like this, take a deep breath. If you start to feel bad, close your eyes and just think, just catch yourself, what have I been thinking just now, or what did I see on social media or in the news that drained my happiness or that dropped my happiness, and just bring it back up. So it's just being conscious of what's going on in our body. And our true essence, who we really truly are, is happiness, peace and joy and unconditional love. That's our true nature. So really all we have to do is just open up and relax and drop into ourselves. We don't need to instill those qualities, you could say. You could call them qualities, but they're actually our true essence. Okay, and so that's for happiness tip number 1, the big one. So to practice that, you can have a gratitude journal and just write something down every day, just 5 pointers for yourself, like I'm happy that I'm still breathing, that I have a bed to lie in. I remember when I was in hospital, all banged up from the accident, I definitely was practicing gratitude all the time because I needed to stay in a state of high energy frequency as much as I could, otherwise I would die. And I automatically had grateful thoughts coming into my head. Thank goodness, I'm grateful for that. So I used to think, all my needs are taken care of by the nurses and the medical staff. I was really thankful for that. The hospital was safe. Nobody was going to drop a bomb on it. I was given blood. I was grateful for that. I was grateful for the peace and quiet. Eventually, I ended up in my own room. And I was super, super grateful to be in my own room, even if it was just a tiny room, just with one bed. A bed and a toilet. You know what hospital rooms are like. I couldn't use the toilet because I was paralyzed, but I was so, so grateful that I had my own space and that I felt safe. So even if your world shrinks, you can still be grateful. And there's always something to be grateful for. And so the other thing that I thought of that really drains people's happiness, and I'm absolutely sure of this, is that people are not being truthful with themselves. So not being truthful in your relationships, not being truthful in your relationships. That's what it boils down to. And again, this is something that we were taught from our early childhood, and it's causing us a lot of pain. So if you take a child that's 2 years old, that child can't lie. And maybe a 4-year-old child maybe still can't lie. I'm not sure when that ability to tell lies starts to happen. It's something that we've been taught. And I think the reason we lie is not that we as scared of the truth per se. I think we are scared. There is fear around the fallout. What if we say the truth? What if we speak our truth? What if I speak my truth like I'm doing today? What if people don't like it? What if people think that I'm stupid? It makes me feel vulnerable or ashamed or whatever. So we've just been taught not to speak our truth, and sometimes we even don't know that we're not even being true to ourselves because we're just so used to being inauthentic. So one thing I know for sure from doing my healing work, I forgot to put my little thingy on. Okay. I guess nobody could hear this because it didn't have my microphone on. Anyway, hi Felicity, hi Debbie. One thing I know that when people start to acknowledge and be truthful to themselves in the first place, their whole energy body lightens up and they develop a sense of lightness in their body. And so if you have a lot of heaviness in your body and tension and tightness and you're not feeling happy, because happiness equals lightness, just start becoming more truthful with yourself and just do that very, very gentle, okay? Baby steps first. So our return journey towards truth, you need to be very gentle with yourself, truth and inner, and truth and authenticity. But people will love you for that. So literally we have to find our voice again. So tonight when you finish listening to me, promise me that you do a simple little exercise that I've created for you. When you finish, you go to the mirror and you look at yourself and you just start telling yourself a few things like, my head, how does your head feel? Just some physical, what your physical experiences are right now. And then your body starts to realize, hey, she's listening to me, because actually our bodies can't lie, okay? And disconnect happens because the conscious mind is the trickster. It always likes to tell little lies, but our bodies can't lie. So then the disconnect starts to happen, which creates pain and tension and heaviness. So you feel yourself lighten up the minute you start to tell yourself a few things that are true. So, okay, for instance, you can look in the mirror and say right now, right now I feel whatever. You look in the mirror and you say, right now I feel silly for looking at myself in the mirror, or right now I feel confused, or whatever you're feeling. And then you stop and listen to your body and you say, my head feels tense, or you could say, my head feels whatever, feels light or dizzy or whatever. And then you just go to your shoulders and you talk to yourself. My shoulders they feel strong, or they feel weak, or they feel tense, or they feel amazing, or they feel light. And just drop down and talk to yourself. Start speaking some truth to yourself and make sure it is really true to you at that moment in time. And that creates a lot of spaciousness in your body, just from simply practicing being authentic with yourself. Because all your relationships, by the way, flow out from your relationship with yourself. So first and foremost, you need to love yourself and build up that relationship with you. So you can also say, I'm aware my shoulders feel tense because of whatever, because I was busy and I had to carry heavy grocery bags or something, whatever, or I was stuck in the traffic, and so on. So you're actually starting to become a truth teller, and then you can go into the lounge room and find your partner and say something to your partner that's really true as well. So it can just be simply like, hey, I've just become aware that my back is itchy. I'll just say something silly like that. But just little things like that, that you start telling the truth to each other, and that you be authentic with each other, because a lot of tension in our body is created because we're like this with that person, like this with another person. We're a different way in a different situation, and we become fragmented, and that makes us sick. So, to finish off, I'm just going to sit here again and thank you all for tuning in and staying with me for 20 minutes. I hope you found this helpful. So, 2 tips to boost your happiness every day, because happiness is up to you. It's not up to your circumstances. It's an inside job. Start practicing an attitude of gratitude, and start practicing being true to yourself, and start to feel really, really safe as you do that. So even if it feels silly first, you just say to yourself, I feel silly, or I'm aware that this feels strange to me, and you just start talking like that, and that starts to raise your consciousness level, and you become awake to who you are yourself. So anyway, I'm just going to finish by relaxing myself again. So put your hands together, and that helps your 2 brain hemispheres to integrate. Rest your hands on your heart center, and that means your brain actually quietens down, and it starts to listen to your heart. Starts to listen to the energy of your heart. Integrate your breathing. Drop down into your belly. Relax, and just feel that space opening up. Feel grateful. Feel grateful for your partner, for your mom or your dad, or your garden, or your dog or cat. Feel grateful that you're living today and not in the Middle Ages. Apparently in the Middle Ages, people only had a bath once a year because they didn't have amenities or water, and they used to have a bath in May, and that's why they used to like to get married in June, when they still smelled, reasonably okay. So most people in the Dark Ages died young, and they had no food, and they had a lot of pain, and they had no comfort or anything. So you can be very extremely grateful that we're living in today's era where we have everything at our fingertips. So just take a breath in, breathe in that gratitude. Imagine you're smelling a bunch of roses that you just bought for yourself, and just feel your vibration lift and be stronger. Okay, hi Mani. Hi Felicity, I hope you found this useful, and I forgot to put my little microphone on, so I hope that you actually heard what I was saying, otherwise I'll do it again. Alright, thanks for tuning in, and have a really good week, and I will hopefully see you all next Thursday for my next Facebook Live. Bye!